everyone, and welcome to Glór and Móna does the Unsolved. My name is Cora Hackett, and today we're going to be discussing the house in Beachmount. And today I'm joined here by Carla.
Hi.
Amy.
Hello.
Donica.
Hello.
And Conley.
Hi.
So, first of all, I'm just going to give a quick brief on what the house is about. So, this house had a lot of paranormal activities happened within it, and the house was based in West Belfast in Beachmount, and the number of it was 91. It was owned by the Skillen family with two married couples named John and Greta Skillen. The family of 7 thought it was a normal terrace council house with 4 bedrooms and 2 of them downstairs, but it was all changed on the 2nd of June 1989.
So I'm Carla, and I'll be speaking about what the public and what it said in the book. So the book's called Number 91, and the general thing that people thought was going on was that there was a married couple that lived in it before them, and the husband had abused the wife and actually ended up killing her. So people believed that her spirit was trying to get revenge on any men that had moved into the house. So John started to realise when he woke up, he found bruises and maybe like scratches on his body. And then he was walking out on the landing one time, and he was like forcefully threw into a wall. And there was one time when him and his son had went down to turn off the lights, and they noticed that there was a woman in the house, and this had happened a couple of times, and John had started to wake up to the woman standing at the end of his bed. So maybe people started to believe that the spirit of the woman was tormenting them.
My name's Conley. So basically what we have here is the usual story of a poltergeist. Supposedly evil ghost come and get revenge on something that happened. All these events started happening early 90s, late 80s to these people in the house. And my family members who were in that time do recall going round to the house, and other neighbours going round to the house and praying outside for people that lived inside it. But for me, it's mixed thoughts. So, we have the evidence that people believed that there was a ghost. People were going and praying that these people got peace. But then also we have the greed part of the story, where they could have been making up a story, to get famous, get money, be featured on the local newspaper. That's what I have to say for now. Mixed thoughts with the story.
I'm a bit skeptical about this whole thing myself, because it just doesn't seem very plausible that this stuff would happen. You know what I mean? Especially here. You'd usually hear about this stuff and just don't believe it.
Hello, I'm Amy, and just going back on the thing Conley said about the community, how they prayed outside the house. Regarding the house itself, there have been no less than 4 different families in the house after this happened, and it was believed that the housing executive had to rehouse the Skillen family, but eventually had to knock down the house after it. I'm not too sure whether I believe it or not, as Conley and Danica says, but I suppose some of it must have been true.
There you go again. They say the house got knocked down. There's no more evidence after that of any follow-ups with the supposed poltergeist. So, again, it could be just a stunt for publicity, or, like I said, money. Back in the end, people would do anything to get onto the local newspaper.
Well, I have to say that I actually believe all of it, because the family had a lot of trauma towards the end of it, and honestly really wanted to get out of the house. So I feel like that proves a big point that paranormal activities were happening, and especially from the fact that the husband John had experienced a lot of it and had bruises from all the paranormal activities happening.
I also don't know what to believe, but I'm kind of on the fence that it is possibly true, because they did end up getting a priest to come and exorcise the house, do an exorcism on the house, and then they ended up getting it knocked down. So I don't really think they would go out of their way to move out of their house, and they didn't even end up getting a house until later on, and like getting it all knocked down. I don't really think they would go out of their way to do all that.
Maybe they were just really unhappy with the place they were living in, and they just, that was the first thing they could come up with, and that was like, it was very elaborate, like, but to be fair, like, if people did believe that and you did get your house knocked down, though, like, it's easy to get away with stuff like that rather than just saying, like, loads of things are wrong with your house, and like the housing executive and all doesn't care, stuff like that. So that's like their last resort, maybe, that they want to just get away.
Well, I wouldn't really think that they would want to move out of the house because the community had prayed outside the house. So that shows a lot of like positivity around the community, and they had all friends around them and the neighbours were very close to each other. So there would be no reason for them to move out. But a question I have for you all today is, if they had built the house again, would any of you actually live in it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't really think I would, because I don't even want to think about the negative energy or the stigma that's like surrounded by it, even though people don't believe in ghosts. And I probably am one of those people that don't believe, but maybe like people would start telling you stories about it and just the negative energy, and you would end up making stuff up in your head if you were living in it.
Well, what I have to say is, if they did rebuild this house, so if there was, say, let's just say there was a poltergeist in the house, let's just say that's confirmed, there's been no follow-up stories, there's nothing else has happened in that area, so if there was one, it's away. So you can build a house, it'll probably be cheaper because there won't be a high demand for it because of that. So there you go, you got a cheap house, there's no more activity, supposedly.
But it's still in its roots, I think. Like, I don't think you could live on it and feel content and happy. And there's a whole book about it, and knowing what had went on before, like, I don't think you would feel comfortable.
I know I personally would not feel comfortable. Even if I had even lived beside the street, I wouldn't even feel comfortable just knowing the fact that what's going on in that house, and the much people that have believed it just would put me off the rails.
I just want to say I think that's all it is. It's just an opinion. No one really knows if it was real or not, except for the Skellin family. So you were just going to have to think of what we believe.
True or not true, it is always a creepy story. Well, thank you everyone for listening today, and join us next time for Glór and Móna chat.